fast forward any come over challenge so age politics avenue. Na political stories are a trend they make weeks in headlines and the jambre na it be exumo ewa haxi any demo yemo enra young simu. Na in simu it's all about fight against illegal mining and I say say na entia yan say the firmapo etimi disclose say 1,200 excavators and I'm no can say he's been tracked down supposed to be meant for MPP gurus and yaksam koto akra Mr. say you mon simunum near hwende ko ene de ba hye no so am say age politics avenue.
What he says is Akuffo who had the proof of concept. And I remember when the ban was placed on small-scale mining, remember not galamsey, what it meant was that all galamsey activities were halted. Even small-scale was stopped. And the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners called on the government several times. And I'm looking at one report. It asked that the government should immediately lift the ban on their activities to save their members from further financial crisis. The executives of the association had said that they had incurred in excess of $551 million over the ban period, and that the cost could worsen the financial woes of their members. And the government had assured that by October of 2017, the ban will be lifted. As we know, the ban didn't get lifted. They kept repeating, reinforcing it until it took about how long? Over a year before the ban, 20 months before the ban was lifted. So, do you agree with Dennis that Akuffo, he doesn't seem to want to say so, but that's the main point, that Akuffo showed better approach, urgency to fighting galamsey than John Mahama is doing. Immediately he took over, he banned small-scale mining for a long period for us to have a fresh lease of life. Why is it that President Mahama cannot take this similar step? Yes, Roxanne, that's a question to you.
Thank you very much. Let me say good morning to our viewers, Clara, my sister. Dennis, Happy New Year.
Good to see you, leader.
I've been seeing you getting the whole year.
No, because you're a big man. I can't see you just like that.
You are on a rampage.
We are building Ghana.
Digging your own records.
We are building Ghana. We are building Ghana.
To offset the good things we are doing.
We are building Ghana.
Good morning to you, Samson. Good morning to my people in Southern Pekik Palik Pevetango. Samson, I think the plot appears to be lost on Dennis. Look, Professor Frimpong Boateng, let me start with him. A whole program was set up. And Frimpong Boateng headed that program. He brought a report as to the kingpins who were, as it were, the dons of galamsey activities. Reported on it, according to him, submitted it to the president. No action was taken. The report was concealed for nearly 2 years until he himself came out to speak to it. So this attempt to bastardize the current processes that are ongoing, to deal with this menace that all of us agree it's become a developmental problem, is improper. Something if the galamsey, you see, galamsey is an euphemism. It doesn't convey the level of devastation that is ongoing, the denudation, the level of denudation that's ongoing. You know, two things are happening to our environment. First, we are depleting the forest cover by cutting down timber stock. Huge trees, we are depleting that at a very faster rate. And then now we are digging the grounds, the red earth. When you are in a flight from Abidjan, that is where you see the extent of the degradation in our country. So, having taken over power in January, we moved swiftly into action. What did we do? We are saying that this matter, we need to regularize the activities. Regularize the activities of the small-scale miners. What they did and called it small-scale mining regularization couldn't check Galamsey. Because you have to be issued with license, you have to do all that, and the people were not ready. So community mining has been introduced as an alternative. What does that entail? It entails the involvement of everybody in a regulated environment. An area will be determined as a community mining area, and people will have plots to mine. When it is done, then there is reclamation. Reclamation is done, and then the area is planted, the environment is restored. But the community mining will not be conducted along water bodies. You didn't do that. So there's a vast difference between what we are doing presently and what you did. So the formulas are not the same. 2, you introduce water guards. Yes, I agree. But your water guards were chased out by persons who were armed. They were armed to the teeth. Your water guards were not armed. We have varied that formula. Our water guards are armed. The blue water guards, they are armed. And as we speak, just last weekend, they conducted operations and drove away arm-bearing groups who were mining in some areas that they are going to enter. So you speak of areas like the Akuffo Forest Reserve section of the what is it called? The forest areas around the Jamira and the Akuffo Forest Reserves in the Offin shelter belt. They went to work in those areas. They are working around Boli and that stretch all the way to Hamle area. And every day they go around and check check Galamsey activities. So, burning of excavators that you didn't just burn excavators. You actually brought, according to Amawu, he brought over 500 excavators to Accra and parked them at an area between Medina Old Road and Adenta, that stretch, that aviation open space, open land. The excavators have all vanished during your time. So you introduced measures. You were not committed to implementing the measures to its effective implementation. So your measures failed. Our measures are not failing. So the call about the imposition of an emergency or a state of emergency, yes, constitutionally provided. Article 21, Article 31, they make those provisions. But would the imposition of a state of emergency resolve the matter? I think that there's an alternative to the imposition of a state of emergency. Because if you declare a state of emergency, you require a lot more resources to enforce it. But if you declare what I will call security zones, if you identify the Galamsey prone areas, you declare them as security zones. It is easier, they are compartmentalized. It's easier to mobilize policemen as well as military men to now guard those areas to prevent persons from entry. Then you also will take proactive steps to go in and reclaim the degraded environment and restore the water bodies. Because the blanket imposition of a state of emergency has far more consequences in terms of logistical support and mobilization than declaration of security zones. So that will be my response to him in respect of that. Now, we have about 288 forest reserves. Out of that, about 44 have been degraded. Out of that 44, as we speak, a lot have been reclaimed, over 20. And the reclamations from the Galamsey people has not been whimsical, they've been driven out. We are actually prosecuting Galamseyers. You couldn't prosecute many. You couldn't. And now, in addition, in addition to these measures, we have also introduced what we call F-moving equipment tracking. What does that mean? Because to degrade the environment, you don't need, it's not about shovel and pickers matter. You need very heavy F-moving equipment. And an F-moving equipment is an equipment that is monstrous. So they are imported. Who are the people who import these F-moving equipment like excavators? If you are not a road contractor or into very major civil engineering projects in the country, why would you bring in an excavator? For what purpose? Or you are not into mining, licensed, registered heavy mining company. So far, about 1,200 excavators are being tracked, or they've been fitted with tracking equipment. So where the excavator moves to, it is tracked, it is checked. Those that are in the wild and they are not licensed for the purpose for which they are supposed to be done, they are being confiscated. And those who have legitimate reasons to bring in the excavators that are presently at the port, in conjunction with the Ministry of Transport, the GRA, the Customs Division, as well as the Ministry of Communication, some policies have been put in place to fit all these new ones with tracking machines or equipment, so that they are not transported to Galamsey or our forest areas for purposes of degradation. Then in addition to this is the menace of Shamfuan, this Chinese machine called Shamfuan. The task force is also tracking the Shamfuan and destroying them. And then we're also checking the importation of this Shamfuan. Because even though it serves as a generator in some communities, they are not brought in as generators. They're actually brought in at water sapping, soil sapping, fine soil sapping machines that aid them in the Galamsey activities. So these are some of the clear-cut measures. All right? So, my brother, we must commend government for the efforts that we are putting in place, very proactive measures to check Galamsey. I am an environmentalist, and as a person who takes keen interest in geography and tourism, degradation of our green forest belts is actually hurting our tourism potentials because they are destroying tourists, very beautiful tourist attractions.
So before you get into that,
yeah,
a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
You referred to Professor Frimpong Boateng's report.
Yes.
Are you by that suggesting that it was shelved, it was kept for a long time, and he had named some, kingpins, and they were not dealt with in the Akuffo regime? Are you by that suggesting that report negates the facts of President Akuffo-Addo's urgent and far-reaching action of a complete ban for nearly 22 years when he took over office?
It does. Because you see, when he lifted the ban, it was around the same time that he instituted a lot of programs. Operation Galam Stop, Operation Vanguard, then eventually the Frimpong Boateng Interministerial Committee. I didn't set that up, he did. And they came to Parliament, we voted a lot of money for that committee's work. The committee did its work because the committee was set up for a purpose. And the chairman is the one saying that when my work was done, I submitted my reports to my supervisor. And I expected him to have acted upon the content of the report, including the recommendations. But after so long, I discovered that he was not acting on the report. So he had to go public. It was when he went public and actually leaked the report that some of us got copies. The leakage of or putting the report in the public domain didn't come from the presidency.
President Akuffo.
Yes, it didn't come from the presidency.
You can't credit President Akuffo for being a listening president. That he's coming into office at a time when there was pressure about ban small-scale mining, ban galamsey, and so on. And the media coalition, led by Kanashigbe, kept heaping, as it were, the pressure. When they were coming into office, in the campaigns, they were campaigning about regularizing the illegal miners, just as you have just spoke about that you are also seeking to do. In fact, when Amewu appeared in Parliament for his vetting, he was talking about regularization. But the media campaign was so heavy that the president had to listen. And what did he do? That the situation is urgent. He gave a complete ban. That response is completely different from President Mahama's response. That's the fact you are being faced with.
That's inaccurate. I gauge people from their conduct. If indeed you listen and impose an interim ban, when the ban was being lifted, you introduce measures. The measures that you introduced rather went to worsen the situation. And the chairman of your interministerial committee presented a report to you. That again is conduct. You failed to act on the report and things got deteriorated. How should I commend such a person? I would have commended him here sitting today if he had acted on that report and implemented the recommendations in pursuance of or as a consequence of the earlier imposition of a ban. Our water bodies wouldn't have
demonstrated a sense of urgency.
You see, if you demonstrated a certain sense of urgency
for almost 2 years
earlier in the year,
and stabilize your water bodies. That's what they are saying.
And then your actions.
At this time,
please,
the turbidity level that we were talking about at that time is about how many times worse?
What were the turbidity levels when they were leaving office in December?
I'll check the exact figures for you. But it is worse now.
It is
the
not.
Ghana Water Company.
It is not.
No, it is far worse.
It is not.
The Ghana Water Company's report. I'll pull up the figures for you now.
I disagree with you.
No, you can't disagree with the facts.
The turbidity levels are not worse than they were in December.
They are worse now.
They are not.
Because when now they say that they have to treat the water
they are not.
with chemicals that cost far more.
It was the same situation a year ago.
No, it was not.
It was. Something. I'm in Parliament. It was. It was an issue in Parliament. They came before the committee. The cost of treatment of water for consumption had gone up. Had gone out of the roof.
A year ago. So we are in a worse place. We are in a bad place.
We are not in a worse place.
So the solution should not be in a worse going place. To use those solutions that don't seem to work.
I disagree with you that the solutions are not working. Because the solutions that we have introduced, because you see, the level of the degradation and the denudation has been so bad that it will take some time for us to begin to see the effect. But I can tell you that if we have guards that are armed and are chasing armed men who are into galamsey out of our forest cover, and they are reclaiming the land, I am sure a year from now, the water levels will begin to change for good.
Really?
Yes.
It's been 8 months.
It's been 8 months,
and
but
the thing has gotten bad.
You see, the effect cannot be instantaneous. If you have visited galamsey areas, the reclamation and the regurgitation and the rebirth.
Won't a complete ban give us a speedy recovery of our waters?
A complete ban may do. I agree with you. A complete ban or an interim ban they do. So that government can listen to that. That can we, for instance, ban the entire community mining, galamsey, whatever it is, and put measures in place and regularize. And
in fact, that is Samuel Kudjeto's proposal.
Yes, and I agree with him that it can be done.
But you were also talking a matter which is actually not fact.
That
you said that under their regime, they were not doing prosecutions or whatsoever.
I said they didn't do much.
They didn't do much.
I said they didn't.
They had
much.
as many as by September of 2024.
Yeah.
They had as many as 850 persons who had been arrested and were being prosecuted. As many as 76 of this number had been convicted.
Do you know the proportion of the people involved in the Galamsey activity?
No, that's evidence contradicting what you sought to say.
No, I said they haven't done much. If you compare that to the number of the persons that are reported to be engaged in Galamsey in excess of 3 million, then you haven't done much. So I use proportion. So when the persons are arrested, by all means, you have to prosecute them. That's the point I made. They didn't do much in terms of prosecution. That is a fact.
Okay, hold on for me briefly.
Great.
But even before that, you know the Catholic Bishops' Conference?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you remember the first time you heard them, speaking up against Galamsey?
As far back as 96 or 5. So when I was in high school.
They've been very consistent and regular on this subject, to the point that the Archbishop, Bonaventure Kofi, for the diocese in Accra, got together.
That's Accra diocese.
And did a demonstration and presented a petition to President Akuffo Addo then. They say that we are in a crisis and they call it national emergency. Do you agree that it's a national emergency?
A national emergency in terms of the scale of the degradation.
You agree?
I agree.
How do you deal with a national emergency? They say that our rivers are poisoned, our farmlands are stripped, and Mahama's refusal to declare a state of emergency is profoundly
we and Samahuro Tim Koso channel so Mamla so Jemre Ewa had a sense of bad in their Dumbi Edomiania. We have a sample rem na Yasumo Consum Kosokura. Ha, AGH politics up.